tired of all the uneducated noise you're getting from the droves of YOLO meme coin peddling douchebag gurus out there trying to use you as their exit liquidity? Would you rather learn a competent university level set of skills that will guide you in managing and investing for the rest of your life? Join us 3 days a week at Digital Investor. Develop your knowledge of game theory, cognitive bias, macroeconomics, monetary theory, investment theory, psychology of the crowds, and more. For more info on Digital Investor and how it can help you, reach out at nickblacknext.com.
Buenos días, buenos días, buenos tardes, buenas noches, wherever you are. Buenas something. All right. Thanks, Shiza. We got that out of the way. What up? Hello, hello, hello. A lot going on today. Let's see. More MT Gox, Bitcoin hitting exchanges. Wah, wah. But we knew that was coming. That's a known. That's a known. It's like a grayish swan event. So you know that there's going to be a tendency towards a bias towards sell pressure on Bitcoin. Okay. So any of those days where you see Bitcoin going up and at the same time it's being dumped, then you know that there's a lot more people on the way in, because these MT Gox tokens are an anomaly for the next 3 months or so. And it's something that's been in the back of everyone in the crypto space. Well, it should be. Probably not new people, because new people are mostly stupid. But other than the YOLO crowd that's here for, Dogecoin and a bunch of other stupid ass meme coins, the overhang of when will the Bitcoin from MT Gox finally hit exchanges, hit wallets, and get sold. So thank Shiza, that is getting taken care of. And it's slow. I don't think the real selling has started. I think it's a little angst. It's funding the exchanges. My guess is I don't think they want to give anybody any kind of beneficial treatment. But they're going to fund the exchanges, and then the exchanges on their own, I'm sure, agreed upon schedule that they worked out with the Japanese government that was handling the civil rehabilitation. They will distribute the tokens. People will sell the tokens. I think it's pretty safe to assume half. Go. See you later. Bye. If Bitcoin was on its way up, going higher, I think you'd see less selling. And I think if Bitcoin was collapsing, you'd see more selling. I mean, you'd see people just selling it as quick as possible. So the fact that it's stabilized, it's not in the 50s, it's in the 60s, that's good. I mean, that probably keeps some of the people that were on the fence, where they would sell maybe a little bit less Bitcoin than they had originally intended, because they don't want to sell an asset that's accretive or that's appreciating. And so that'll probably keep some sellers away. They'll probably everybody, you'd have to be a damn fool not to dump Bitcoin Cash. Be trash. You would want to sell it, all of it, everything. And this is not financial advice. This is common sense advice. Don't be a damn fool. Anybody here who's holding Bitcoin Cash, just know that all of these early Bitcoiners that were over at MT Gox, they are getting Bitcoin Cash because it was a fork. None of them, remember, MT Gox happened way back, 3 years before the fork, the block wars. So all of these people that have this Bitcoin Cash were not buyers of Bitcoin Cash. They were gifted it. To them, it's just some junk they're going to sell. And most of them are probably, by this time, Bitcoin maxis, laser-eyed, just like Elon Musk and hopefully Donald Trump. Anyway, so we'll see. But I would say 50% or less selling. And if you have 134,000 Bitcoins hitting the market, then you should assume about 65 to 70,000 probably get whacked. And then the nature of that is also weird because a lot of those Bitcoin have been pre-sold to hedge funds and investment facilities in a variety of weird deals that were set up a few years ago, where they were buying them at 90% of the then price, which is probably anywhere between 20 and 40,000. I don't know those deals. I don't know where those deals were made, but none of those deals were made above 69,000 because that was the top. And it was 90% of spot, most of those deals. So those would be changing hands more in an OTC type function where a lot of those people have already been paid. They just sold their stuff. Stuff sold, gone. That'd be good. So if you assume, well, what would be a percentage? Well, let's see here. Let's do a quick poll. There's 88 of you. We can get a pretty decent poll in. Take yourself back to, let's go 5 years ago. Well, let's just say, for the sake of argument, Bitcoin's at 20,000. You have 10 Bitcoin stuck at MT Gox, and you don't know when you're going to get your money back. And someone offers you 90%. So they're saying, listen, we'll give you $18,000 right now per Bitcoin. You got 10. How many people would do it? Yes or no? I would sell. I would hold. And remember, you don't know what the price is now. So you can't factor in that. All you know is you lost your Bitcoin in 2014. It was in the low thousands. It was, say, $1,500, $1,200. Mary, you're a liar. Everybody here who says they would hold is a damn liar. All of you. You're all lying. It's fine. That's fine. Those of you that say you would sell some, keep some, okay, there might be some truth there. Sell half, but listen, your investment's probably $400, right? Someone's offering you $18,000. They're offering you $180,000. None of you, none, because none of us knew. Remember, I was in the space back then. They'd offered me that, I'd have sold because that would have been a gajillion% return. Every one of us would have sold. My point to this is, again, we have the benefit of knowing that it's up at 68,000. We would all have sold because we would all have sold at least a significant portion because you just saw your $300 or $400 investment, probably enough to pay off your house. And back then, we didn't really have true believers. Remember, this was a funny money internet token traded on Magic the Gathering online exchange. Put yourself in the shoes of that kind of nerd. Think about it. We'd have all sold. So my point is, and again, we have the benefit of knowing what the price is right now. Well, okay, here's how you do that math. Bitcoin is 68,000. What's Bitcoin right now? Let's just go take ourselves a little look and see what the price of the Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is 60. Let's call it 67,000 flat. So the coin is $67,000. All right. Let's say you have 20 Bitcoin at $67,000. And someone offers you by the way, it's locked up. It's in an exchange that went bust. It's in Coinbase. Let's just say Coinbase goes bankrupt. All their stuff gets stolen. It's all gone. Oh, don't worry. We're going to fix this in 10 years. So everyone, your investment is $50,000. Okay. All right. You now have $1.3-ish million that someone's offering you. They're offering you $1.2 million on your locked up, not going to see it money for a decade. That's what these guys waited, a decade. You're only into it for, say, $50K. Someone's offering you $1.2 million. You're telling me you'd hold for a decade and say, well, I'm going to wait and see, knowing what the price is right now. Same difference, because these assets, this asset in particular, behaves kind of inversely proportionate to stupid governance. We'd all sell, man. We'd all sell. So my point to all this weird roundabout dithering daisy chain of kind of randomness is, put yourself in their shoes. I think that most people would have sold, and I think better than 50% would have taken that deal. So my guess is then I would say that better than 50% of this Bitcoin is already sold, has already been dealt to hedge funds and private funds and who knows, the Black Rocks and Jamie Dimon. We don't know, but we know those deals were made. So it'll be interesting to see over the next, let's say, month to month and a half, where that Bitcoin goes immediately after it's released onto exchanges. There may even be deals that were made with the exchanges. For instance, Kraken was early involved in this kind of rehabilitation, working with the Japanese government to piece back together this scamminess, the Mark Karpellis and the Russian bullcrappiness, to Russian rule. And so you could imagine some kind of deal being made where the funds sign contracts with the people that agree with the exchanges, and when their accounts are funded, they're immediately pushed over to those buying agents, those entities that already paid them, because they've already been paid. These people many of them they've all probably already spent it. Now, it'd be interesting to see if people took that money, waited when Bitcoin dipped, bought back into Bitcoin. That'd be something. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of what's floating around in my mind. So to sum all of that up, to reduce it, when I tease all of that out, I come up with a number of around 30 to 40% of the Bitcoin that's being released by Mt. Gox hits the market. And also, we're in a recession. And also, we're going to talk about debt today, because it's bad, like real bad. It is ETF day. Woo woo. Finally, the Ethereum ETF is trading, which is cool. Let me see. I got a notice from CoinMarketCap. Ethereum spot ETFs launched today. Let's see if they did a little thing. Here's all you need to know. Do you guys want to know all you need to know? Okay. Where will they be traded? The key differences between the ETFs: estimated inflows, the staking question. Not yet, but maybe in the future. Well, guess what? If you buy your Ethereum at Coinbase, you can stake it at Coinbase. If you buy your Ethereum via a MetaMask wallet, you can stake it directly in your wallet. Have I done this? I do stake the tokens. It's like 3.2 something percent, 3.29 over at Coinbase. I do that because it's easy. I don't do the other one, which does pay better, but with these assets that can go up and down as fast as they can go up and down, I don't think leaving the exchange for an extra 2 or 3, 4% makes a lot of sense to me. I can tell you that I'm quite bullish long term. Both the Bitcoin as well as the Ethereum. What I'm not bullish about is what all of this will do to the price of Ethereum, meaning the price of the fees. And in a situation we have right now, where as people buy these ETFs, I'm going to read through this, but just keep this in mind. One, I'm reading off my phone, so any grammatical mistakes are theirs, not mine. I don't make mistakes. And when you're thinking about the Ethereum ETF, I'm going to interject here and there little bits, but remember, Ethereum as a layer 1 is crap. It is a terrible layer 1. It doesn't. It's slow. It's spammy, full of crap tokens, but that's all of the projects now. I mean, all of the layer 1s. So you can't really hold that against it. It was what most of the scummy dirtbag crooks used to raise money from 2017 through about continuing. But most of the scummy crooks have gone to Solana, and then to a lesser extent, Base. That's where all the scummy meme coin trading, carpet pulling douchebag gurus are. Yeah. Anyway, if Ethereum starts getting gobbled up and put into funds where it's not being used to staking in a proof of stake network provides security for the ecosystem by helping to promote transactions. And so if a large percentage of those assets are not participating in that, potentially a quarter to half, that could be bad. Does it mean Ethereum will crash like Solana crashes, like every fourth transaction? No, but it means it will be slow and expensive. So there you go. All right. So keep that in mind, slow and expensive. And what does that do? That shifts Ethereum from being this smart protocol layer, like what you're going to hear on CNBC, almost smart contracts, like these dumbasses on CNBC have any effing clue what they're talking about. Oh, yeah, we use it for smart contracts. We make contracts. They're very smart contracts. Dumb contracts, that's what Jim Cramer does. But what we do is smart bull crap. These dudes know nothing. What they're going to do, my guess is Bitcoin will be hoisted above our shoulders as the world's savings account, right? And Ethereum, and so Bitcoin will be gold, and Ethereum will be another kind of money, a cheaper, I hate to say silver, but something like that. And Ethereum will be looked at as money, and Ethereum is not money. Ethereum is not even currency. It's a crypto asset that's used to pay for transactions across the Ethereum network, which originally was intended to be a world computer. And then when it was really clear that it just couldn't scale, a couple of hiccups and the team imploded, and Vitalik and Lubin and some people stayed, and Dr. Gavin took off and created Polkadot, which is a dumpster fire crap show. And Charles Hoskinson took off and created Cardano, which is an amazing project that no one cares about because he whines all the time like a little bee. And so on and so forth. So remember that Gavin was the guy that created Solidity. He's also the guy that coined the term Web3, and he left Ethereum. And then even at the recent Ethereum conventions, they said, listen, we're not focused on reducing costs. That's not part of the roadmap. They don't care. I mean, they just straight up said it. We do not care about the fee structure. So their attempts to scale technologically might make sense, but for the average Joe who wants to buy coffee and stuff like that, Ethereum is not fit for purpose. So you think, well, okay, layer twos. That becomes another argument for, I'm guessing, the next group of assets that will get promoted, pumped, squeezed into financial products. But we'll see. Anyway, you probably see a wave of other layer ones. These douchebag, scumbag creeps will probably find a way to package Solana as not a giant corporate thief operation, which it is. And they'll try to package it as some kind of thing that you could have as an ETF, because a lot of the same people that are lobbying are the early investors in Solana that pumped that piece of crap in the first place. So obviously they're going to push for it to be in an ETF format. Same with Cardano, Polkadot. I don't see a future where, but maybe Cosmos. But again, no one uses Cosmos, even though it's amazing. So those things should be floating around in your mind. So there'll probably be a push at some point for other layer ones to get that status. And then it just gets easier and easier, right? So the first one through the door was Bitcoin. And there was a little pushback with Ethereum. And now Gary Gensler is planning his retirement speech. It's a lot. Anyway, so the wait is finally over. After years of regulatory hurdles and amended filings with the SEC, spot Ethereum ETFs were finally approved by the SEC and set to make their debut on U.S. exchanges today. This landmark event opens the door for millions of institutional and retail investors to gain exposure to Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization. Though familiar, the fee structure has caused problems in the past, but now we have regulated investment vehicles. Woo! The Chicago Board Options Exchange, CBOE, I've been there. It's a pretty cool place. Confirmed July 23rd as the launch date for 5 spot ETFs for the Ethereum asset. 21 shares core Ethereum ETF, Fidelity Ethereum Fund, Invesco Galaxy Ethereum ETF. I hope that's not Galaxy Digital, Novogratz bullshitty company. Perverted creep. Anyway, Van Eck Ethereum ETF and Franklin Ethereum ETF. While no official announcements have been made by NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, the remaining 4 spot ETFs are widely expected to be on the list. Okay. Okay, this is talking about price. We don't care about price. Price doesn't matter. Not right now. Where will the spot Ethereum ETFs be traded? The good news is you won't need to jump through hoops to get your hands on these ETFs. Once listed, shares will be available through virtually any major brokerage platform. Oh, I'm sure that Vanguard is dodging this one again. I wonder what their argument will be this time. Well, we don't like Bitcoin because of philosophical blah, 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 blah. We don't like Ethereum because we don't like the word smart and we don't like the word computer. This is just, you put those two. We don't like the word contract. We don't like any words that are a bunch of douchebags. I guarantee you their clients are just like, okay, well, I'll go somewhere where I can buy it since you're going to tell me what I can and can't buy in my retirement. Pretty funny, the kind of weird lobbying, like citizen cop stance that Vanguard took with all this, isn't it? A bunch of dummies. And I would be not owning their stock. Anyway, okay, so once listed, shares will be available through Fidelity, E-Trade, Robinhood, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade. These platforms act as intermediaries, allowing everyday investors like you and me to participate in the exchanges where the ETFs will be traded. Key differences with 9 spot ETFs in the Ethereum blockchain slated for launch, you might be wondering how to choose the best fit. It goes with fee structure. And so the table of Ethereum ETFs and their fees are set to launch next week. Grayscale's ETH will now be the lowest cost. Oh, that's their mini fund. That's at 15 basis points. So that's interesting that they did. Well, it's an interesting tact. You know what I could do? Ooh, what I could do is, you want me to just put this up? Let me see. Oh, this is going to be sketch. We're doing this real time. I'm just going to take a screenshot of the ETFs and their fee structures, because we may or may not have covered this. See if it works. It's very exciting. Oh, snap. Now I can take this. I can put it here. Oh, what? This is use some high-tech stuff you guys are watching right now. High tech. Okay. So the Grayscale here, let me go big screen with it. We're going bigly. The Grayscale mini trust. So their idea was to create this mini trust that people would push into. There's a good chance people will exit their expensive ones. So they are the top and the bottom. So you see on the very bottom, Grayscale Ethereum Trust conversion, their ETH. They're converting from their current trust to their new one. The starting fee, and then the post waiver. Oh, God, these guys, 2.5%. They're just going to landlock everyone. Anyway, I think they allowed a certain amount of people or certain percentage to transition into the mini trust without a cost. So anyway, 2.5%. That's a lot. 250 basis points versus Invesco Galaxy, 25 basis points. And their old fund was 25 basis points. They kept the same. iShares Ethereum Trust went from 12 basis points to 25 basis points. Fidelity. Now, this is interesting. So, Fidelity, 21 shares. Bitwise, Van Eck. Remember, not Vanguard. Vanguard are a bunch of douchebags. Van Eck, we like. Franklin and Grayscale Ethereum Mini. The starting fee is 0. And the post waiver fee goes from 25 basis points down to 21, 20, 20, 19, 15. Waiver length. And that's, I think that's the amount of time you have to make a move. So there you go. And what the 2 billion, the waiver amount, that 2 billion there, what that's saying, I believe, is that there's 2 billion from the original Grayscale Ethereum Trust that is allowed to kind of auto convert over to the Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust. So Mini is the new Maxi. I guess less really is more. EMEG, yeah. Whatever happened to EMEG? She probably got a real job. Anyway, I know it's not with she left at the right time, didn't Money Morning Live is no longer alive. Anyway, so there's that. Great. Cool. I'm interested to see how Ethereum performs. Yay. All right. There is something else I want to talk about. We're going to talk about budget deficits and personal debt from a tactical standpoint as part of our kind of office hours, our kind of educational part. So for those of you that don't know, we do the show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and for the digital private clients, also on Saturday. For the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shows, we do about 15 to 20 minutes public, and then we go behind the wall where we talk about actual investment stuff. What to buy, what not to buy, why you should, shouldn't, and what we're buying and all that. Yay. And then we talk some more nitty gritty. And then on the Tuesdays and Thursday shows, we leave public because it's less about actually what you need to purchase and more about the way you need to think about what you need to do or not do. Right? Says only 46 people found the show today. Oh, well, you know what? When I looked on there this morning to launch the show, it had grayed out 3 or 4 of the other YouTube channels. We have like several YouTube channels. It had grayed them out. It grayed them, Barry. It grayed them. Anyway, so I found an article that I thought was interesting. Interest payments, because we talk about debt a lot. Interest payments on U.S. national debt will shatter. If so many goddamn commas, you got to go backwards. Like if you just look at this number, you're like, wait, that can't be a trillion, can it? Certainly that's got to be a billion. It can't be a trillion. How can interest be a trillion? Like how can the interest on your credit cards be more than the credit cards? So yes, you go, okay, the hundreds, those are thousands, yeah, those are millions, those are billions. Ah, shit. It is a trillion. Eating 76% of all income taxes collected. The vast majority of Americans' income, I got to play some different music for this. Some kind of more depressing music. This is actually upbeat. Oh, okay. Well, debt is upbeat. The vast majority of Americans' income taxes are now being swallowed up just to pay interest on the country's national debt. Interest on the interest. This is the bad side of compound interest. This is what new numbers show. Economist E.J. Anthony reports that based on the Fed's June numbers, interest on the national debt is the equivalent of 76% of all personal income taxes collected by the government. So whenever they're like, we need to tax the rich, why? Why? You guys just print shiza out of thin air anyway. Why are you taxing anyone? It's all funny money. No, I mean, it really is all funny money. I hate to sound like one of these MMT modern monetary douchebags. because those guys have about as much kind of financial understanding as it's like a mule. But I mean, they're not completely wrong. Taxes are pretty stupid at this point if they serve their original intention. Yes, of course, taxes make sense. But now, interest on the federal debt was equal to 76% of all personal income tax collected in June. That's the Treasury's largest source of revenue, and 3/4 of it gets consumed just by interest. Anybody at Congress awake? Do you guys even care? Elizabeth Warren? Or are you guys too busy having your war on technology? Warren, what a bunch of Anyway, this economist says that the cost to service federal debt has exploded 33% in a single year. Think about that for a second. 33% a year is 8.25% a quarter. 8.25% a quarter. That's over 2% a month. Bro Cephas. Bro Sophia. This is not good, man. And this is in a year. What do you think happens next year? The Economist also reports that interest on the national debt was the single biggest expense for the government in June, far outrunning other critical public services, and the Treasury expects it will break the 1.14 trillion level this fiscal year. What? Consider it caught up. Interest on the debt surpassed both the Department of Health and Human Services as well as the Social Security Administration to become the single biggest line item in the Treasury's monthly statement. Think about that for a second. You are the U.S. Treasury. What is the single biggest expense for the whole United States? Oh, nuclear weapons and jets and special subs and Red Octobers and freaking planes that fly backwards. Nope. It's debt service. It's it's the bill on your credit cards, you dicks. Treasury now expects the interest on the federal debt to breach 1.14 trillion this fiscal year. If that estimate is anything like their usual overly optimistic, bull-crappy projections, then be prepared for it to be many currency units higher. So, I mean, that's not good. And so it got me thinking about debt, man. Got me thinking about that debt. And I know a lot of people that debt finance their lives, and that's no bueno. Now, for the sake of the discussion that we will entrer, we're not talking about home debt or your main automobile debt, although probably automobiles should be included if you're not monetizing it. You got to be careful how you draw the lines. That gets back to you managing your own personal balance sheet, which probably we should talk about that again. Remember, life can be reduced to these 5 things: income, expenses, assets, liabilities, and what's left is cash flow. And part of that you invest, hopefully. So you can experience the benefits of compounded interest instead of being on the receiving end of it, which is what credit card debts and this is. So since we know that life reduces to those things, you have to be honest about your income, honest about your expenses, honest about what is an asset and what is a liability. And most people kind of fudge those, right? Like your car, it's a liability, but you could subtract out the cost of public transport, and you could make an argument. Subsidizing my public transport, and this is anyway. And then your house, and you could make an argument there. You say, well, I'd have to live somewhere. True. So you'd look at what the aggregate rent is. You could subtract that out and say that's an expense that I would have to pay. But then when you say that, you realize, oh wait, that means the house is a liability. Yes, it's just a replacement for an expense. So there you go. Unless you're monetizing it, like Brandon does. Brandon rents it out for Airbnb when 16 people make an appointment and 38 people show up, and they have like bonfires and crap inside the house. It's cray cray. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about that in our kind of more brainiac part of the show. But anyway, yeah, it's Ethereum Day. Fun, right? Woo woo. All right. Let's do some brain stuff.
Hello. You're late.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
Extra credit.
Okay. Let us talk about understanding. We just talked about, budget deficits. We talked about the new line item number 1 for the U.S. Treasury, which is interest on the interest, interest on debt. And we're going to also talk a little bit about personal debt, like as individuals, because that's something that may plague us, many of us. And I would urge anybody, certainly nobody who's here still has any personal debt, right? Like real quick, there's 122 people here, at least through YouTube and then through some other formats. Of those of you that have your eyeballs that are live, how many of you are completely out of debt? And I will allow you to not count a house. If you have a house that you're paying off, ideally you're paying cheaper dollars. Therefore, you kind of shorted the housing market by buying a house with more expensive US dollars to pay it back with cheaper US dollars, which ideally you would earn more plentifully because you'd have to get paid more to equate to the debasement. So other than a house, who here is completely debt-free? Debt-free. Nitro cost you. Debt-free, debt-free, debt-free. This is important. A lot of people probably are not, but if you are debt-free, so for those of you that said debt-free, you're out of debt. How good did it feel that actual day where you were done with debt? Like done. See you later, bye. It's over with. How flippin' great was that? All right, so let's talk about this. This is relevant both to our country as well as our personal lives, and that is budget deficits and personal debt. So we're going to explore how runaway budget deficits, like we're seeing, compare to runaway personal debt and understand the consequences of letting debt get out of hand. We're also going to discuss, just for a bit, the current national debt, which we kind of talked about, and provide you with some tactics and behaviors to manage your finances effectively as you grow into your either middle to later stages of your career, your investment life. You might be just starting your investment journey. And so as you grow from an employee into a full-time investor, and that is the goal, right? Like you invest enough in education that you can actually invest your currency units better than someone else can. You get to a point where you've made so much currency units from your currency units because you learned that there are like several stages of life. Beginning stage of life. What does what does currency equal? I make money to pay bills. Money pays for your current living, right? Your life, your standards. That's the average. That's Joe Sixpack. What is money for? Paying bills. Okay, cool. And then there's you cross this threshold where you realize, wait, money's not used to pay bills. If you get enough of it, you take money and you make money into your little sweatshop workers. You make a money sweatshop so that currency units can be your employees and they go out and earn income. When your currency is earning currency, you started that. You've transcended that kind of original existence. You're no longer Joe Sixpack. You're Joe Fine Wine. Anyway, now that you've transcended from, that's kind of a rich mentality. Money makes money. Money's used to make money. Currency, yes. Future opportunity, personal freedom. Very good, Barry. I'm gonna put that up there. I like that. Yes. And then there is another derivative. There is another step that you take, an order of magnitude up. I guess we could say it's Joe Keg. But anyway, at this point, you go from plebeian mentality, worker mentality. You've gone to rich mentality, which is money makes money. Now you realize that money is not just about making money. Money is used to buy your time back. And when you get to a point where your currency units are making, a few multiples more than you're making at your current employment, then growing those currency units is your job. And your side hustle is your current employment. So, and then there's a point where you just escape. And it's weird. It's weird exiting a job, even though if you have a lot of money, you've saved, you've invested, you've done really good, it still feels weird exiting the paycheck. We are so programmed to take that paycheck to, twice a month. Oh, there it is in the account. I give you an example. It's weird to me. So I have some other investments and, I invest. My buddy and I have a car rental, an exotic car rental company. And the money I get from that, I'm always like each month, like, oh yes, here we go. The new month. Let's see what we got last month. Let's see what the payout is. And it's cool, but it's probably 1/50th of what my investments, like really, like 1/50th, like $1 for every $50 that my investments pull in. And yet it's still like, I wouldn't say, no way, I don't want it anymore. Like that doesn't, it's weird. I remember, when did I leave my last job? Oh, I got fired. I got fired from my last job. It was a sales job, but it had nothing to do with sales. And they fired me improperly and had to pay me a lot of money, which I bought Bitcoin with, and I rubbed it in their face. Matter of fact, when they deuced me, I was doing kind of like a consulting thing for sales and training trainers and all this kind of stuff. And then for them to go out and then train their sales staff. So I was training the people to go train their staff. And I remember I got, what was it? It was like a weird, anyway, the thing was like right after they did it, it was, there was a VP that he and I didn't see eye to eye on, because I thought it made more sense to make money and he thought it made more sense to not make money. So anyway, they had to pay me money, and I went and I bought Bitcoin with it immediately. And I remember it was funny because I went back a few years later and saw one of the VPs that was now like a regional VP that was actually pretty cool. She was super cool. She's like, hey, how did everything work out? She's like kind of quiet, like, am I okay? I'm like, oh yeah, everything worked out fine. I bought Bitcoin at $692 a coin. Remember, with all that money you guys were forced to give me for that improper termination that I didn't fight, man, I lawyered up that day. I was like, yes. Anyway, it still felt weird not to go into work. I mean, it wasn't like a traditional work where you go in like 8 hours and all that, but still, it felt weird not to clock in and clock out. Even though, like, common sense would tell you, you got to put your efforts, the lion's share of your efforts need to be in the greatest currency producing, aspects of your life. People don't do it. Matter of fact, that's another, before we get into this, before we talk national debt at a little bit more 10,000 foot level, how many of you here make more money from your investments than your employment? How many people here make more money from your investments than you do from your employment? And then is this a second question for those of you that do, how many of you make 3 times more money from your investments than you do from your actual employment? There's going to be a few of you. So, and it's okay if you're not there yet. Like it's a path. And that's the beauty of compound interest, is you will absolutely get there. That's compound interest. Yeah, passive income, but it becomes not passive when you make it a full-time job. Retired from multiple jobs. Nice. Multiples of. Nice. So you guys are starting to see it a little bit. But anyway, there's a point where, for me, it was a 3x. When my investments make 3 times more than my actual work income, I'm done doing that job. See you later. Bye. Well, it depends on the kind of work. I mean, I guess technically this is work. It doesn't feel like work. But I think 3x is the number. That's my number. Anyway, okay. Keep these things in the back of your mind because these are all things you should shoot for. Everyone should shoot for passive income that is a 3x of your current income. And at that point, you have to ask yourself the question, is my time better utilized simply managing my investments? Or do you work in a job field where the job is giving you information that makes your investments better? Everybody's situation is slightly different. You'll get there, Steve. 2 braids. Well done. All right. So big picture thinking. National debt right now in the United States is, well, it's well over 34 trillion. I don't want to look at the debt clock because it makes me vomit every time. Like every time. You're holding on to your Cardano. The staggering trillions. Remember all those commas? Like you just have to keep putting commas until it looks stupid. Remember if you said trillions when you were in school, like in grade school, you would get kicked out of class for cursing. Anyway, this is a 34 plus trillion. It's a pretty staggering amount of money. One of you guys, if you want to, you can go look up what the actual today number is, but it's gross. Anyway, 34 in debt is it's like mind numbing. Matter of fact, so big that Jerome Powell already said it's not repayable. This is the guy that runs the Fed. Maybe you think we need someone else in the Fed? If the guy that runs the Fed says it's not repayable, I don't know. Maybe we should get someone in there as the head of the Fed that does think that there's a path to paying it off. I don't know. Crazy, right? So, and it's a staggering, just mind-blowing amount of money. And it affects everybody because if you were to stack $1 bills on top of each other, the national debt you could climb that to the moon and back over and over and over. So, I mean, damn, right? National debt, for those of you who are like, what? I don't quite get it. So national debt, think of it as the total amount of money that the government owes to its creditors. And this includes money borrowed from other countries, private investors, and even to you through things like bonds, things that occur in the treasury market, bills, notes, bonds, all along the maturity curve, the yield curve, as we call it. So when they sell that debt, they're selling future prosperity. Well, we assume there'll be future prosperity and that's what they're selling. So debt service, when you hear that term, that's the cost of borrowing. So when you borrow money and have to pay interest, the government also pays interest on its debt, right? Those are those fabulous yields they pay. And this is called debt service. So right now, a huge portion of the taxes we pay, 76%, is used just to cover the interest on the debt, the credit card fees, right? It leaves less money for important things like, education, healthcare, infrastructure, fancy subs. I watched Hunt for October lately. I only watched half of it though. Anyway, long story short, here we go. So can you kind of compare national debt to personal debt? Yeah, kind of. So imagine you're a high school student, you got yourself a part-time job, you earn some money, but you also have to pay your phone bills. Your parents are dicks. They make you pay for your phone. You got to buy clothes. Maybe you're saving for a car. And if you start using credit cards to pay for things that you can't afford right now, you find yourself quickly in debt because you're robbing from future income to pay for right now. Problem is you have interest attached to that. So you get into this debt trap. So just like the government, you will have to pay interest on your debt. And if you keep borrowing more and more, soon all of your earnings, all of your job, money, currency units coming in goes just to paying off the interest on the credit cards for the crap that you bought before you could afford it. And it leaves you with very little money for other stuff. And this is the debt trap. And apparently it's so easy to fall into that, the whole US government has done it. And they do it well because, no one gets elected on the let's pay off the national debt platform. They get elected on the I'll buy your city another bridge. I'll employ a bunch of people to dig holes, and I'll employ a bunch more people to fill in those holes. That way you have gainful employment. And so what happens? So you get into a scenario of runaway debt, runaway personal debt and runaway government debt. So whether it's on a national scale or a personal one, runaway debt has, sounds pretty bad. It has serious consequences. So for the country, it means less money for essential services and, a weaker economy. Weird. We're in a recession. No one will admit it. Soft landing. Guys. For you personally, this kind of runaway debt, this debt spiral can mean a lot of stress, more limited opportunities, financial instability. It can create all sorts of interpersonal relationship problems, marital stress. I mean, damn. And if you have a family and they're looking at you and you're suddenly not providing because you have all this debt, or you're not providing as much, or, looks bad, feels bad, is bad. So kind of the key pitfalls, it reduces spending power, creates higher interest rate scenarios, and it just limits your opportunities. As far as like reduced spending power, you're spending more money, more currency units, let's get that right, to pay, because money is a little bit of a vague term, but you're spending more currency units to pay debt and interest, leaving less for your other actual needs and like leaving zero for investment. You have higher interest rates. So as your debt grows, those lenders may charge higher interest rates because of the increased risk. Also, you start carrying too high a debt and you leave those teaser rates. Those things become predatory, especially a lot of those credit cards go up into the high 20s. That's predatory, dude. That's more than a double every 2 years. And then those buttholes are calling you and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. And it limits your opportunities, right? High debt limits your ability to make important life choices, to have any kind of agency in your own life, right? You don't have the choice to leave a job. You don't have the choice to make a transfer or take a risk or buy a house or start a business if you're choked with debt and debt service. So, when you think about it, like fixing the national debt, that's a pretty complex issue. We have very limited ability to fix national debt as individuals. That's a systemic problem with our elected officials. We can go and try to elect them out and hope that, right? But that's almost absurd. But we do have control over our own personal finances. And there's some kind of tactical behaviors that you can employ. And that is budgeting, avoiding unnecessary debt, build yourself an emergency fund, right? Learn about investing, whether it's, here or somewhere else. And try to, if you can, spend some time looking at your current employment and seeing what that path looks like to get you to that kind of 3X, right? So if you're thinking about like wise budgeting, you can create a budget like on paper, right? And to track your income and expenses, you can do this. Actually, you can use like GPT-4 and start a discussion with GPT-4 and have it help you do this. It's super great. You can, like, through regular voice, you can just talk to GPT-4 about your budget, talk about your income and expenses, talk about your assets and liabilities, and then what your kind of gross cash flow is after all that. And, really be kind of observant of spending less than you take in. Spend less. Save regularly. So save a portion of your income specifically for savings or for investments in the least risky kind of aspect. So for me, that's like, some Bitcoin. That's like a nice little step. But you can literally take some cash. I have a buddy who sells a bunch of cars. I told him yesterday, buddy, put your money on either go get some treasuries, which I doubt that's going to happen. Your bank may have some CD situation that's cool, but you can get 5.16% just by parking your cash at Coinbase, right? In USDC. How sweet is that? So set aside part of your income for savings in whichever kind of vehicle you decide. This will help you avoid borrowing money for unexpected expenses. And it's out of sight, out of mind. You won't spend what you don't see. You get it out of your bank account, you're not going to spend it. I bleed my bank account to zero every month. Like every month. All of them. I'm not leaving anything in there for anyone to steal. I did get money stolen from me from the state of Texas one time because I hired a web designer and to do this new website and everything. And he did all these incorporation documents and everything for me. And he ended up on the incorporation documents, which is a little sketchy. Anyway, he ended up on the incorporation documents and he defaulted on some office furniture. And I ended up having to pay for it. They just took the money out of my bank account, like straight up robbery. Texas can do that. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, cool. You guys want to play that game? All my money will be sitting in the cryptoverse collecting 5.16%. So anyway, avoid unnecessary debts. So think carefully before using a credit card. I use credit cards for convenience and immediately pay them off. Like when I say immediately, the minute it shows up, like I pay it, click, and then I go into my app, American Express app. I go to the little black card thing and I pay it. There's a little button that says pay it. You click pay it and you click 3 more blue buttons and you just paid it. Done. Like see you later, bye. Not messing with it. So only borrow or swipe what you have cash to pay for right then. Right? Don't start being a government. Don't start debt financing. Pay off your debts quickly. If you have any debts, line them up by the highest interest rate. And those are the ones you go for first. Pay the highest interest rate debt as fast as possible, right? This is, you understand compound interest. Don't let compound interest beat you up. So knock out the highest debt, like write them down. Credit card XYZ, 22%. I got to whack that mother effer off now, right? And start working your way down towards the lower interest rate, paying cards or charging cards, and then get rid of them. And then just get rid of them. Don't close the accounts because you want to have credit. Credit's valuable. So don't close the accounts. Just get rid of the cards. Like literally cut the cards. I have tons of credit cards. I get them. I call in. Oh, your card is active. Cut, done. So I never use it. And I just use my American Express for everything and then pay it off instantly. So, and then build an emergency fund. So have some money set aside for the proverbial rainy day. And that will keep you from going into debt when unexpected expenses arise or your HVAC goes out, just whatever might happen. And these things do happen. So, understanding and managing debt is crucial for countries, and it is crucial for individuals like us, like me and you. And so be budget-wise, save regularly, avoid unnecessary debt. Just be smart about this. Then you can focus on your investments. Then you can work towards that 3X. And then you can just say, I refuse to work anymore. My new job is managing my money. That should be your job. You got scammed at a gas station. Yeah, gas stations are sketchy. Oh, by the way, eBay is going to discontinue they're not going to work with Amex anymore. Isn't that crappy? But PayPal does. So you can go indirectly. You can go through PayPal or Apple Pay and still use your Amex. Ooh, 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 eBay, F you. Although, oh man, show you these bad boys. Look at this one. This one I got. Remember I told you the other one I got, the most comfortable shoe ever? So I have it in, I got the white one. Well, it's chalk white. I got the orange one. This is beige. 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 Beige goes with stuff. You notice there's 2 different tints? Look at that, 2 different colors. eBay. These people did not know what they have, and they sold these for $52. And I know that they cost $170. So I feel like I just won the life lottery. I know other people win real lotteries, but to me, I won the shoe lottery. That's pretty damn good. All right. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor, insolvent, drunk, strung on a meth grandmother wouldn't do, who's definitely a grifter, and she will steal all your shit. All right. Ethereum ETFs, thanks Shiza. They have launched, and the world hasn't imploded. We'll see you tomorrow for more fun and shenanigans. Mostly shenanigans. And we'll see how day 1 of the ETF launch was. It'll be fun.
Are you tired?
Nope, not that one.
If you're an accredited investor and you want in on angel, seed round, or early round equity and token opportunities in the artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency space, schedule an interview at nickblacknext.com. In life, you can either be really good, really lucky, or just be first. Being first is so much easier. Schedule a digital private client interview today at nickblacknext.com.